talngim oh you tarawra wal balula lembalti karin el malak karang aramaka arangalage balwa
yang malung total mergidro guil gu procede tunir al total oreste al program mergidra Bruxelles Aisen au era domule do sia susul mora ai budul reklai bilung ebi reklai marogul rubul mar masil belau diregal do sia susul mora presidente ma a vice presidente marogul mungutlingra a amtrigidra blur belau o mal masal masumil tul iner al tutawe kaduk pamlamo kadmo orange tial el momo gaim ewit el episodio de tial Bruxelles Aise el al tutawe ngari terul adel a gestre al tutal lobenge del ngatial studio tira mlarselong erulo mrael sel dial el milura a ngole le belau meleliwek tamla seidlo ngelulo mrael e obenge de la mo gora ultimo gorger tira bebira gel gora interesting la biltik ma tialo morulir ma endi era de borsei en área agora bebir update soal di mokmung soal di mo aisel mera regit agota sen kada mal menga sulit tiger rogul adam los ilmora kramer sera adulstel 21st mlo omes sel ship to shore interaction mla sel mla kramer ang erul gora update maliben subdak mo sel libu voyage 2 amlo mereka sera Friday luim erul ke sila buil ngal mlo sebel makatmok mo ngil diregal mlaria agora exciting discoveries malibang agora pa esel blol butigra aselta seguido long erul omrael se lo que del subda se ndio maklat ke mo center PICRC ma Aquarium amo el simmersel el almaral mel Thursday ma Friday leng Thanksgiving and Family Day holiday mong simra center Thursday el al Thursday klugu nyao smang yosel mong simra center ma Aquarium el al tutawe kada ngaria terul guest el lobenged el tirgamlara seguido long erul lomra ongerulo marar tial dial livu voyage 2 makbo oling tertir mutmo gaw the startil introduce himself magot tensuagal introduce ra ngalngara alright nga ara center maktikmu agak tiom gdonia se GRETA is this time I would like for you to introduce yourself.
Sure. Thank you, ASAP. So my name is GRETA SARTORI. I work as a researcher for the Palau International Coral Reef Center. And I was lucky enough to be a guest scientist on the Nautilus for this past expedition. And more about it in a bit. Now I'll let Kim introduce herself as well.
Hello, welcome to the show, and thank you for allowing me to be on the show. My name is Kim ETSITTY, and I'm coming from the Navajo Nation, and I'm a teacher. I teach high school science and back on the Navajo Nation, and for this Libu voyage opportunity, I was able to be part of the Science Communication Fellow, and it was really nice to be part of that. I'd be very fortunate.
Okay, balway sing galgreta po sing ga adra sing Aurora Coral Reef Center. El tatriger researcher el el moria te el mas tial dial. El morte idro ngerulo mara alibu boyetse. Engal gima seguido lol goringa sensera McKinley County School. McKinley County Navajo Pine High School, right?
Yep.
Oi, seguida kia se atiangara New Mexico. Senser seguid direct el mlos el milangal me etelor tial omral gu karsel saidra tora school agora education ayam lero le tilterul mlara tial dial dirgam lo sibil nga seguido lo ngerulo moral nyam le 11 days el miral miliwek ra lomes tial eotle la klingi la dobel belau urol mulu ra urol gor omes abertakle mo se edel gor agania cloud ngir gid laseng ngwangral ga gro sebetulnya la klangara se edel mtig tial el tmol el dobel belau Agreta ku kumla se gid el dial el mle adra toira me guk madala gora bil center el mlon ngari alun ngotmokle magame dol ngitim gora mo go magalo ay sagel guk lun ngotmokle Greta, can you tell us a bit more about your role on the second voyage?
Sure. So, as I was invited as a guest scientist, I was helping the watch lead or the chief scientist in identifying interesting sightings while we were diving with the ROV. So I was giving a hand by spotting fish, or spotting interesting corals or other organisms in general. I was also helping in suggesting which sample would be worth to collect and where to go. But one of my main roles was also to take still pictures. For this latest expedition, they were able to set up a still cam, very high resolution still cam on the ROV. And so I was trying my best to take like amazing shots of what's down there. So we can have a repository in Palau and an amazing gallery of pictures to look at, to remember all of us about this incredible expedition. And I was also responsible for the chat with the scientists ashore, because we had a pool of experts that could communicate live with us while we were doing the dives, so they could advise us on which corals would be best to collect or which fish would be best to collect, depending on different science backgrounds and interests. So I was giving a hand to the watch lead or the chief scientist in the watch in answering the questions and reading the messages from these scientists ashore. And then I also had my role relating to PICRC and to the monitoring of the PNMS, which was collecting and filtering eDNA samples. And I think we'll leave this for a bit later, right? Okay, so that's it for me.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Asaf. That's a lot to translate.
It sounds like you had a lot of tasks while you're on board. Yeah. Ngal Greta mla tial dial el gora wal bil madra center gid. Linga adra gora center. Emang mla say gora amle gora wal ngar le la say. Wait, let me just clarify one point. So you guys are basically sort of like watching some sort of screen or something.
Yeah, correct.
And as the ROV moves around, you say, hey, what's that? You know, okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Matira la sel dial le gore matoa dia mesa screen gore otengli seguil do sen ROV, sel el remote operating vehicle. Totengli mong matial ROV merara pertak militui ya taram le urera creta or se gasi kame mungei gora wal madala gora rifla se gora decide do sen ra ngil do lai ma se tara gora mle roleri a osisil timing en direct el ngar seguid e modo du el gora malagamentra trigel expert, for example al sum temtigra marande en area expert. When you say the expert, these experts are all over the world.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Tirgal expert tramran, expert traspans, expert trapertaklela ngawal. Tirga berberi drablulat. Mengal Greta direct tramle urera ngasei gore omgodong tirga gid expert sel sum let's say tam tora pertakla tel pertaklela ngawal. En ari tigel guk expert tora pertaklela ngawal. Mengal Greta walong do urtil gora kada mo mengila se wara tetele tel pertakle magra ngil dongot mokl girela kada mala sampol ng magrang ayam leptog tingila urera ngal Greta. Gore Endi ngari atara mal miklo rollering sel luriol tial gora sentera gire motmokring el gada tuo del ngara dial ma sentera mla motmokringira agal morgol buil marak indi gada lo rollo bengel angel marin lo lendia ka klol bil senter el mawal tia sel do se eDNA ta mala tamora ngawal emma gora war sample el me ya urule teme gora omi o meslasi ngaral badengela armak ket tial ngawal ma oi ma ngara tetele tial wai sing walo mesla sing bek kagrus ngogi segid war sample blan ulmei etimi esbil mo mtiglo sing ngara ngaral kagrus badengela armak ket tial ngawal Sigit sil tara qorabable klolurel. Magdamot tibel masada say sil do amabru lang almuktel mal mo qora ko makas mo di say. And then for what were your role on the boat?
So my role is called a science communication fellow, and so I had two jobs. So the first job was to be in that control van with all the other scientists. So we had the two lead scientists, a data logger, the two ROV pilots, and the video engineer. And the science communication fellow would get the conversation whenever we do our live dives, whenever the ROV would go into the water. The science communication fellow would kind of like summarize what is happening in that control van and then relate it back to the public because we're it's live stream and in a way that it's easy for the public to understand because sometimes the scientists use really high vocabulary and so the science communication fellow would kind of translate that to the public and kind of make it more friendly for them to follow along and they would initiate conversations and be very curious about what is happening and what they are seeing. And then the second responsibility that we had was to host live interactions with classrooms all over the world. So a lot of, before the expedition, the Science Communication Fellows' job was to kind of reach out into the community and get a lot of people up to date on the expedition and then have teachers, educators, even museums, not so much formal education facilities, and have them schedule those live Q&A sessions. And then we get those interactions going, and then we host those interactions on the ship. And we can have those live Q&As, and they last about 30 minutes, and it was on either Zoom or Google Meets.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, ang gagi lagi mo ko la se sel guk mle gora wal ngar alert yal yalla ma mle tablo gora walu rele ako ta sel title lulubal ngal mortial yalla sing science communication officer mela sel mortial yalla ngar ele lagi mataram le ngar ele lagi ma sei ar scientist adu o mesotial bertakle enyad or wal gora oida igal tingir el mobeotra di hutsul adra bulu understand waset ngrata mangat moklo le sa scientist ado ng trill sel ado ito di ala baigel maklul to ora science da kidel di hutsul adra bulu ado ng el toy siya amletara ngar lela game ya ongerul taram le urele lagi masay ito dire schedule ay gelo aseng ship to shore interaction lo bangela school mata lo bangela gele school malelu kablurad whoever trigel school mo so isabel mo to rolo bantril atara urele lagi ma direct gora awal lo ay say gagi del togoil mora gal school el direct gora amak petingi gora rulil mo simple man si iranal ka school e direct mo mudengay gal longot mo trigal adal artial dial e direct lo aseng tadire gal mong schedule ay gel daseng adra bulu ogerager e adra radial ongera gal ger dase Q&A sel Q&A algo ngase question marwa ora answer marang ay gagi dagal tablo gora amle uriri tirga man sebe lo say so man you guys sounds like you guys were busy while on board. I mean you didn't have time to kind of rest or something. Anyway, hey, that's interesting. It's very and I believe if we could just talk a bit more about the highlights, some of the interesting things that you.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite part of the conversation.
In other words, what were some of the most memorable moments?
So there were definitely a lot of memorable moments on board. Kim will be able to confirm this. But one big highlight for me, being a marine biologist and studying animals per se, was to see an animal called heteropod, which was very, very weird. And it was this sort of a snail, but it's looks completely different from a snail. It looks more like a sort of an upside down transparent dolphin, right? With this dangling shell that's completely, useless now, and it's just used as a appendix that has absolutely no purpose. And it was incredible to see this sort of snail floating in the water column. And other incredible sightings we had, it was an animal called Pelagioturia, or maybe people don't know that in the deep sea cucumbers can actually swim and can actually live free in the water column. And these sea cucumbers doing this, they are incredibly good looking. They are sort of transparent, giving them this sort of alien aura. And can swim in a very agile way, such as fish, and move around between spots. So that was another highlight for me. And a very funny moment that we had, actually more than one, it was when we were trying to sample fish, because as you can imagine, moving the robot at those depths with his own arms and his whole sampling equipment, it was kind of challenging, even though the pilots were doing an amazing job. And I remember this time in which we had to slurp, because literally we had a hose like a Hoover, right, to slurp things around. And we slurped a super rare anglerfish, actually the very first time that an anglerfish from that species was collected in that way. And when we got it, it was just everyone was cheering as if we were in a football game, and also highlighting the team that they build up, in that situation, and all the team effort to actually get to that moment. And then we were fortunate enough to have also long transfers to the Southwest Islands. And in that moment, we had some of the scientists on board giving very interesting talks. So we learned a lot from them, also from that side. And also we have amazing video engineers that were actually documentary filmmaker, wildlife filmmakers. So we learned a lot about their lives. And there were a lot of incredible, interesting people on the boat. It was great to learn about them through these discussions and presentations. Yeah.
And so the organism that you got it, was it the first time? Is it a new discovery, or it's been recorded before?
There's actually many organisms that we collected that are the first time that they are seen in Palau. And there's also others that we believe that they could be completely new species unknown to science.
Okay. Gareta malgo laseng malgora selgora malmlo o ngilaruri tialom relela mlo sebillo mesa temlega electra tara ngora bdengela tra bdengela gora da sen snail gora medel wai gai gidele gora atatsumuri mara rabartakle indinga mungigai mungigai gora me lin sabdengel ngoltalle sang musia tara gora malmlo o ngilaruri madirek tara. What's the other one? A sea cucumber.
Swimming sea cucumbers.
Tara bdengela gai gidel eler il direct kera aday maseng lil sang indirek lo asaya nguk sikyo kambel mangigay kidero ko amadek pasaygal aled ngara adrula arma ara ngukti malaksa kara bartak dalong igay hindi ga ngukla ngod atetelela aklangar tirma omrol lil tekira aday maseng maiga nguk mangigal aled sikyo kamber o ko ngay kidel direk malgo laseng Tamlara, let me just clarify one point. So how many days did you spend in the Palau main island group before you head to the southwest?
We just spent 3 days in the Palau, the west.
West. Okay.
We were in the domestic fishing zone. And then we moved to the southwest.
Tialong erulo mra lang kagita kareta lo ay sila say. Tialong erulo mra la mlet 3 days lang sel subda ngara eringil. Tial ayong ngalelebelaw tial sele dwasing domestic fishing zone mledel club sel ngarsay esera bolmre etira miral budula southwest. When you went to the southwest, did you go to all the islands or just one island?
We actually didn't go to the island and we didn't see them, unfortunately, but we were just in around that area.
Okay. Ndi akmlabes o ndi albora almolole liyo krablu letira ngatial ngawal mo dimla kalbesa gelblu. So basically, do you have any idea if you went around all the Southwest Islands or? Yeah,
one time we were close to Pulo Ana, one time we were close to Merir, and then I think we were also pretty close to Helen Reef. We didn't dive on the Southwest Island, we just dived in close by seamounts. Also the Southwest Islands at some point they were seamounts, but now they come out of the water. We were focusing more on with the seamounts with a summit around 800 to 700 meters deep. So we didn't dive in the specifically Southwest Island, but in very close by underwater mountains.
And so when you say you didn't dive, how do you get the photo from the 700 meter?
No, we dived around the Southwest, not in the Southwest, just at the 700 meters summits of these other mountains.
But you didn't do like a deep sea exploration?
Yeah.
I mean, dive into the very deep.
We didn't go in the trench because that was done just for one dive during the previous expedition. We were usually, since the seamounts were pretty shallow, that's a pretty shallow depth for a deep sea exploration. We were starting around 1,200 and then working our way up to the summit.
Right. Okay. May lang kita retal mo ko la sa bol mo ka gele club sir tiale suba da ngara ering tiale ang wallet. Elo ngar omrolil mong how many days was that from here to the Southwest?
We took 24 hours. That was the transfer time that we took. And we were also mapping on the way, so traveling at about 9 to 10 knots.
I see. Mlariak me del lume al sigar omrolil ngar tial mo. But dire losbil gora dire mrula mapping tial dolong lela ngayawur ma Southwest. Dire wal gora mlariata material gora hakasel ngatial diala mlesi il gora gibatok material rogul waya kim magreta mlesi il gora waloren saigel tok tegal hakase el molma Southwest esera albo que tamal di milui era dimla sal morat bol te dimlora maliliwek ra abitaragel bululo mes sel 700 medra ngar edel telal maral mel mera akmedra gale kula almelela bulu. Was there anything interesting in the Southwest?
Oh, yeah, all of these weird animals that I just talked about, we saw them down there in the Southwest. Yeah, it was very interesting. And another thing it was very interesting was the geology of these seamounts. Like, there were so many different rock formations. They raised so many questions in our head that we didn't really know how this thing could have formed or if they could have been exposed to air at some point, depending on, the sea level change and subsidence of the earth crust. So there was a lot of questions that raised in our minds, but we collected a lot of rock samples as well, not just fish samples and coral samples. So we will be able to date the age of these mountains and understand a bit more of their geological history too.
تدريج الملا عندي قاعد يقولوا لا أعرف تدريج الملا غورا بعض المي من السبيل غير عندي اللي غورا أجن كيلو شيء أيقال بعض وغرار جيل أيقال بعض من دير المسؤول الغورا عند غورا مواريا ويل كلاون غير شيء ما يقال وساوث ايلاندز أملا متلال راغل. For the animal samples, so what's the process? You collect everything, preserve on the boat, and then do you wanna?
All right, so yeah, we collect everything. When the ROV comes up from the water, the science managers bring all the samples into the lab and they store them in ethanol so that they can be they can stay fresh, how can I say? And when the expedition gets back to shore, they remove the ethanol and ship them as soon as they can to different universities in the US. So they have one university where they store the biological samples and another university where they store the geological samples. So these are going to be part of a repository that could be accessible from us if we want to study anytime, and also for scientists from all over the world that are experts in their own field.
I see. Nung kita kretal mo ko sa igal sample sa galik tilmay ilo ara etanol am sisi ilgal sel malo ara ka agora armen diakal masak diakal volbrame lobi pridel suso ng sebel kel mo kete ndi ser dil mira aol gorod itamal di me octobre gigid etanol egore pagal egore gutmok le durok mora gel gagros university city sa gukul tora agora tora ba de area university guk animos kragem tudurok kay sampol mo egal sampol amo de el سبيل العادل والو سو مجيد من سيد المو ملاقي الانفورميشن المي اوسبي سي اتتل تيال luriol logot mokuni kalek tagil sampol. Was there a game? Can you share what was like being a science communication fellow and being able to share the deep sea world with the schools and communities?
Oh,
Just talk about a little bit.
yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
It was really a unique experience. So I'm a teacher. I teach high school, and just teaching students in general from all grades has been just an amazing job in general. But so now doing it from the ship and sharing the importance of the ocean, and so I come from the Navajo Nation area, and that's all desert, and trying to it was really like neat to teach the importance of the ocean to a different community that doesn't see the ocean, and sharing the importance of water, because we don't get a lot of water in that area, and also just sharing it with other communities and different populations all over the world. So we had some from Hawaii and then American Samoa, and then I think we did most of the schools here in Palau, except for I think one. But we reached a lot of schools in the United States as well, and these students are just very curious about the ocean, and they love the footage that Nautilus provides. And yeah, it was just an amazing experience. And I think total this whole school year, or this whole expedition since June, Nautilus has reached about 79 interactions total.
Oh, it's just when you say Navajo Nation, would that be only New Mexico, or there's a several?
It's New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, and Utah.
Oh, most of the Navajo people are kind of in those surrounding. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nga kita gimlo ay sa sing ngasen sera school, ngasel da sen Navajo Nation. Ay trige gidro guil guk trige lo la amrige, trige la dim lang amrigel. Selo dos na Navajo Nation en daqdil tel New Mexico. Marege gidra al bebira state lo gora maleli wek trigel adel lo ras seguid ras ngari al delir tmo tmage e mo tia sen Navajo Nation. Ngalgi ma o olisak la gidil seguid school malungi la rule wase ablu maldi desert maldi gale leges el blue mendiga da bringi. Did you have any interaction with the school from your stay?
Yeah.
Mong malungi la rule wasay mlasama sa el gu koro ay sil mortigel ngal school sel bulwal New Mexico wasay adaba ngara telel mong wasay malme interesting tigal ngal kadira atal sa adabo letekera bal ngal gesel blue ending og gitagi del programa mlo sabil الأجيب من رأس له أي ستيرة يجلقوك قلتوا تلا العذاب وقرأ أقول موين ضغط مقرني ما يجلقوك بيبي رابطوه اللي بيلتقي العذاب من واسين. I bet you got a very interesting audience when you did like live interaction.
Yeah. There was a.
I mean, it's like a first thing to them. They never seen the ocean.
Yeah, it was a lot of them had a lot of funny questions and curious questions.
Right. Menghalm lewi la sagi interaction lo bentrir ma gel gukti bebira ngose mol mucha lo mul tialo mrara ongelol mulbuil ali selo ongelol June was they were in Samoa, right?
Yeah.
The ship ali selo bul mrara ongelol mulbuil merelang tamla mosbil mrula did you say 79 interaction?
Yeah, so far.
Oy ngaria ogwid ma etiu silda sa interaction and say gidil tangara dele motmok crowd ra angara bulu connect mortire ta do kakargera ta germa angara nosim la wa satchin me lat mla gutmoka ogim etire gidil and so it's very interesting the work you did on the we hope it can inspire other students from everywhere to think about science or the deep ocean as a career
It certainly inspired me or many other people that managed to get on board.
And now Greta, I believe you have another role for you as a PICRC staff on board,
yes.
Which I believe it's the EDNA. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Sure. And so as efforts for monitoring the Palau National Marine Sanctuary, since 2021, we have been sampling eDNA from surface waters in Palau. So I give you a bit of background on what eDNA is. So eDNA is also known as environmental DNA, and it's made up by the particles of like fish skin or whale skin that just shed off into the water column. You know, as we can lose some hairs or our skin sometimes peels off, the same happens to animals in the ocean. And we can actually, just by collecting water, get some of these bits and pieces of skin of these animals. And by filtering the water we collect, we can concentrate all this organic matter on a filter, and then we are able to sequence the DNA that's left into these bits and pieces of animal. And that gives us a non-invasive, non-extractive way to monitor what lives within the water of the Palau National Marine Sanctuary. As we know now, nobody can fish out there. So usually, how do you monitor a vast ocean area? You monitor it through fisheries dependent data, but we don't have this in the Palau National Marine Sanctuary. So the eDNA strategy, it's very efficient to know which fish populate our ocean. And we have been doing this for several years now, so since November 2021, and we do this in different seasons to see if fish assemblages change, and we also done this so far in around the north, east, west, and south. And now, thanks to the collaboration with the Ocean Exploration Trust and the Nautilus, we were able to expand our sampling to the Southwest Island area, which we have never done before, and also to deep sea areas. Right, so we could sample eDNA even from the deep ocean, and we are very keen and interested to see how the eDNA will also reflect the things that we saw in the videos that we saw with the actual ROV. So we are very grateful for this collaboration and this opportunity that could significantly expand our knowledge of the Palau National Marine Sanctuary.
Isel taramle urela agoreta rangatel la amle jirel galek tayel sample el parte sel clolurere la gorri sentel matmoko sel tora eDNA seguid el logo conectar en environmental DNA matial urora gorri faulumu ra sera 2021 magdamiru ringil goradi ngarai galkme goradi top sorry, just a clarification for one point. So when you start the eDNA water sample collection in 2021, how far did you go out around the main island group and Angkor? Usually, what was the distance?
I think that was about 25 to 30 nautical miles, not further than that.
Oh, around Palau, yeah, because of the size of the boat and all that, right?
Yes, we couldn't really go too far, also because we had limited time. Yeah.
Seguido lo gorino se sel lomura aurora 2021 en dal salmo oroi dal salmo oroi de ngara medelo godel maera tial meleli wek tial babel dap ma ngayawur ma ogore metoduluro seguid e gagi de molgo la se malu la rude le ngulgi tiagi el gora aurolo ventre adra ibinotilus tiagi del dial en lo sebe del mlalmut el tribal momo mala war sample ra aroi del mael e dire lo sebe del ma sample ra ada atmol el debela ngawa deep water sample
yeah
en molgo lo hace a gagi del sample aral malgalmei etamal mera sentere emi meselebi il momrek e gagi del الغرة التبتبي لك مونغرال بالبي ما أيجي على العلمي غوري مغت مكو سلو ترى تنتين لوري الوسيا تا سيكونس أيجي دي إن إيه موال غرة أمي بي الوسي نغار سئل ما لبن تبتبي لغرال الأرم نغار تبتبي لغرال الأرم يسيجي ده كده ممدين الوسي نغرا مغرال الأرم نغرتيال الدبل بيلاو إلا ندرك المالو إلا مال سوري الوسي سلبو دغايجي دي بوار سامبل المي ملوش هذا الماي مقدم لا مال مسنتين يالتغلب بولش هذا السبديد لسي ما يجيلقوا أرم الكيرات مولو أغورا وانغرا البدن إلى أرم إذا رسل لو مش يجيل دي إن إيه غور أولاب الغامبير لسي أيجي ذا الأرم الدبيلس هذا أتمول أربيلاو تم ملا ميسرا أتمول هذا ملا ميسرا أتمول الدبيلاو بيبي رابلو يسيجي ده كده ممدين لسي ما يجام بأس الارم البلاد بتيجا لو ngari bukti bebira bulu kortal do se bela ang butto kay gidel ting la gidel to la di en lo mokla agreta seguida agora tetele celure la agreta ya ay mo seguida mo sibil ma a bebira sampol sa aral ma dire el arma te gidel mol de belbelo. Can we talk a bit about the importance of this? If anyone would answer, why this voyage is kind of important?
Yeah, I think having this voyage here in Palau is so all over the world, everybody is interested in how rich the biodiversity here is in Palau, and this voyage is important because we need to protect this area in this Palau National Marine Sanctuary because of its unique position where it sits at the base of the bottom of the Philippines plate and all of that. There's a rich biodiversity, and I think there's a lot of and Greta mentioned it about the different species that are here and those that are found and those that are still yet to be found, and we need to kind of just really research this area to further do the next steps of conservation.
Why saying malako gimla saying maklok tutrela ay gidulurol leng nsbel wal gora subdi dragel el baby ratol gat magil el girela osab aklel malu bang maklel ay gidt mal dabe man ngilar ngud el masbed el gor oro lo bangala ay gid el dial el masbel ngosugit كده قادرة طاهي يو تيال باسيفيك ايلاندرز قد دي مثلا رغولا سي ادي قبلوا الكمال الغرا ام سي سي تغورا ضابر تيل غريار وغرا اديال امسو برتير مروا مقلول غرار تير ما قد غدا تال دو سي سي قد بلو الغرا دي ومس تيال الكميدرا بلو yang maral omsu bra gayid leng agoten abil singa da se elmora gayid o ngero omsu blo omsin de omsu bado ongot mokram et kidel di hutsul kidel asantista omsin de mesram edlen sibil bot tira atul baqal mo omsu ba maranda ma indi gayid el morar wa aday masenga la mal moklok tutrela gayid ora collaboration len se elgo sugid el momesa gayid el basol laga wa gayid el dalen diagaro lele bodo mesmo wasen moklok tutrela gayid el expedition len se elgo sugid gayid I understand, the voyage is stopped, finished, but we need to, continue find ways to continue this this research. You want to talk about so what's the next step? What would be an ideal picture since the expedition has stopped and the boat is leaving? What would be an ideal situation if you would continue this moving forward?
So I hope also on a personal level that the Nautilus could be back in Palau one day, especially because we just discovered, a very small area of the ocean. Even though we have been out there for more than 20 days in total with the expedition, there's still a lot to be mapped, there's still a lot to be dived in. So we are very far from being done. And Palau National Marine Sanctuary is such a vast area, and unfortunately we couldn't cover everywhere. But thanks to the collaboration with the United States and with NOAA, next year we are expecting another expedition similar to this, which I think is going to mainly involve mapping. We don't know at this stage if there's going to be some ROV diving yet, but the Oceanus Explorer from the NOAA, which is their main vessel, is going to come to Palau and is also going to offer some internship opportunities for Palauan students and early career scientists. So everyone is invited to apply, and and I'm looking forward to see where this new expedition will take us and the new amazing discoveries that they will make.
Oh, yung kayo nakalital mo ko lasay. Ngariat te al tiagi del dial al multilman extir. Lengwaseng selgot lomran ongiru lomran la momoda kay gel sil celebrat tial dial la. Ko lomran ongiru lomran lengara lu club se. Mengkagida ka kalital mo ko lasay. Selu club se mal ngwadgora dimlo o ngwadgora dimlo masa atlgi bertial tial PNMS tial blul basura ngolel belaw mengwaseng possible asabela tial dial multilman extir eselmay ya next lureri la tom sindem la ko kalekta sampol ma next lureri la ko pal di mo motmo ko sel mulu sel mapping pal de mesa bertak la ko ma primo kada mo la sei ngwarat tial el bertakle la bel mele wekkel belaw sei agora mle eudaso en gida garetal mol molo ay sa ngari al mutulwan adial el dial la nova el tia amera me announce indi ku sei gel deitri la last el shop me agulu ay sringi tia amei en diselemen mal interesting ngaria do you remember how many students will be on board of Okeanos?
I'm not sure. I think 1, 2, 4, if I remember
right,
well. But
right.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
sorry.
I remember I announced it on the last radio show about this opportunity, and I don't have the numbers. Anyway, sel dial lalmei sel Okeanos, en mosibira adala kurang al school and interested ay dil tora aga. El mom mas ngi spend 4 weeks. Sel dial lamel gara 6 to 8 weeks. Hindi tigal al school mosibil 4 weeks lo bangel tial dial. Emral meleli waqta de bela matmok rawrore msu. الترجال الورا أو ده صحيح الترجال جد interested أيه لمسوبر أتمر الدابو بولسيل ما مس أيقال ده البول السيل الورا جاي السيل مو سيل أقصو السيل وا experience أتتلاقي جاي دلوريون يا next radio show مالي بين ترى ورا بولو مول سجيد لمراس next ديال نوال ده سأوجيانوس I'm sure أقلق تلميرا radio show يقوم مسكدا يجل ديت ما يجل announcement ما هذا موسم الموتل يا لا قلبي ده سلا لاستك ما يقولوا أيش يقوم مريقا سي يا مويلهم صدل أصل المتيجي سيل PICRC ويب سايت مالسومو غاريا أدرى لقوان على سكول لورنس تيال الراديو شير ألتو تاو إن سيل بيسيت سيل الموتل ما هو ما قالهم صدل سيجد النكس ديال الميل أوكيانوس سي تقول الجيرلا جالت تقولها الباقل we pretty much cover what we were do you have anything that you want to add on or you must have left so you want to mention it before we close the program?
Yeah, so I just want to say thank you and for this opportunity and right now, Nautilus has open applications for any educators who want to participate in the next expeditions coming up. So the application is open now all the way till the end of December. And I just want to say thank you and coming from Navajo Nation and allowing me to be in this space and the Palau waters, and it was very nice.
Do you know the venue for the next expedition?
I am not.
Any idea?
No, not yet.
Okay. Sorry, I was just curious.
Yeah. They were hoping Fiji, but
Yeah.
nothing is written. Nothing is for sure.
Nothing.
Anyway, nga kita aki melokora di mereka sulel giret tial balme ngilom rolel mei el diregalom tera bulwal Navajo Nation mereka sulel adal belau blasebel moriate lel me masat tial dal rabulwal guk masat bela bulwal. I'm sure when you return, you have a lot of interesting things to share with your students.
Yeah,
about
definitely,
us.
definitely.
Sa return mo nguk maski kumuyoros kulgi del morte yang ala skura asel blulo lisakringi. Akora dim legal en was next expedition mong akora dim legal lengwas lengagi del molgol wasi open te al ari application el almo December el almo otro marul buil et to sigir trigagi del waldo aset tora amo mas artial dia le motmok lagi dulu ngari ang last mail application mangi dil app el interested el apply il visit el website ra tiagi del dia le ba fill application last mail la tiagi del dia le mutra December. All right, that's very interesting and a very eye-opening, you know. Greta, did you want to say something before we close?
Maybe, just a general be grateful. I'm very grateful to Palau International Coral Reef Center and Palau in general for trusting me, giving me this opportunity, and for the Nautilus and the Nautilus crew in general to be such a welcoming, amazing, and interesting group of people. And it was a life-changing experience for me. So I cannot be more grateful. And thank you, ASAP, also for hosting us today. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
Oh ya, GRETA dire malung la rul, losang no niya ora telel mo masat kay del dial. Dire kora mo nga sule la abulwada ma tial lurerel. Seta mal masal no sil mo uror tial lo bengela center. Eto gubet sil no sil masat del dial munguk no mesa bebirawes. Kada kora ka wala kalang dit tabay mlames sa dirga kadwes gidi tira da kerbelal me la dirga kadwes tira bay mlames. Ya madalo ay sa gidi kora mo lumo tel program gid kada kora dai time la gi kora dai time la ay sa gid me somam me ay sa mal sugu mo emermara urma program gid makalmu tel mal mrenga sulira kamulo ren sil masimil tulin o ren sa tel program gid o si siltam alangania kora amle somologer en din digiata mo e kamal sab emel dio mo dong mera tel center gid sel outreach department e mamulom so de la gagi del tora aurora outreach ma gagi del kora tora wa Nautilus mara clutil mal de wacha sea happy Thanksgiving mo rola la blue belau alisel Wednesday Thursday Friday ya center al simre madal wa siya mo lubong ra atial program bergit e magadimerit ya mo osmri selguk mel belsel command sulang
Talngi oh you Tarawra wal balula limbalti kare الملات كرام رمضا أرام لغي بلوى ماذا بي غرغرغي غرغرغي